Democrats in power in the United States can take a lesson from Canadians who are fighting back right now against Donald Trump's tariffs. Leaders in Canada, including people that I'm not even particularly politically aligned with, like Doug Ford, the premier of Ontario. It's like the governor of one of our states. Their province, Ontario, is one of the provinces, and Doug Ford is its governor, is its premier. And there's a lot of powers that they have that governors don't have, and this is one of them. He is fighting back. I got 2 clips of him discussing what is happening right now as a result of Donald Trump's tariffs, and then the other clip, a little shorter, is kind of what's on the horizon, what's being planned if these tariffs if they persist. If Donald Trump continues down this path, it's only going to harm Americans. Now, before I get to the clips, let me say this. We need to be careful about having too much glee at the failure of Donald Trump. We can have certainly appreciate that we called this, we said this would happen, and now it's happening. But I would caution against this. Real people are gonna be hurt by these tariffs. Real people won't be able to afford the products that they once were able to afford, or the products that they were barely able to afford before are going to be out of reach now. There's a real economic impact of this that's going to be felt by hardworking, working class, decent Americans, both Democrat, liberal, decent people, and the fucking MAGA types. So let's all walk into this with that kind of understanding of how to comport ourselves relative to our schadenfreude. You know what I mean? And look, I'm not above that. You think I'm better than that? I'm not. I get giddy when there's failure on the part of these ghouls who want to tear down our democracy, who attacked the Capitol on January 6th. I revel in their failure. I do. But here's Doug Ford. I got 2 clips for you. Here's one where he's talking about what has been done already, and there's impacts already. There is fighting back already. And then I got a very brief clip about what is to come. First, what's happening now?
These tariffs are a massive mistake. We could have stayed focused. We could have poured our effort into making Canada, the U.S., the 2 richest, most successful, safest, most secure 2 countries on the planet. Unfortunately, one man, President Trump, has chosen chaos instead. Now, we have no choice. We have to respond. Earlier this morning, Prime Minister Trudeau and his team announced retaliatory tariffs. They have my full support for a strong and forceful response. Tariff for tariff, dollar for dollar. As they do, the federal government needs to ensure it's getting revenues from its tariffs to impacted workers and businesses as soon as possible. To support the federal government's efforts, Ontario will also launch its first round of retaliation. Starting today, LCBO, the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world, will begin removing U.S. products from its store shelves. And as the exclusive wholesaler, American brands will no longer be available in LCBO catalog, meaning other retailers, bars, and restaurants in the province will no longer be able to restock U.S. products. This is an enormous hit to the American producers. Every year, the LCBO sells nearly $1 billion worth of U.S. wine, beer, cider, seltzers, and spirits, including more than 3,600 products from 35 states. As of today, every single one of these products is off the shelves. Also, starting today, all U.S.-based companies will be banned from taking part in government procurement. Every year, the province and its agencies spend about $30 billion on procurement, alongside our more than $200 billion plan to build infrastructure. U.S.-based businesses will now lose out on tens of billions of dollars in revenues. They only have President Trump to blame. I'm also urging all 444 municipalities to do the same and I'm thrilled to see some are already stepping up. For example, Mayor Patrick Brown in the city of Brampton and many other cities. As part of this government-wide procurement ban, we're going one step further. We're ripping up Ontario's contract with Starlink. It's done, it's gone. We won't award contracts to people who enable and encourage economic attacks on our province and our country. Alongside federal tariffs and the measures my fellow premiers are bringing forward, this Team Canada's opening response.
So you may have heard him say the LCBO. He said it a couple times, and that is the Liquor Control Board of Ontario. I had to find where I'd written it down because he didn't say what it was. I had to look it up. The Liquor Control Board of Ontario. So I went and I looked at their website, which is shut down while they recalibrate what their online offering is, because they're pulling every American sourced product out. It is off the shelves. It is not on their website. They say this: service unavailable. This is just when you go to the basic website. Our site is temporarily unavailable while we remove United States products in response to United States tariffs on Canadian goods. Our in-store customer service remains unaffected. Thank you for your patience and understanding. This is how you fight back. You offer up consequence, something Donald Trump is not used to. And even in this fact, he's not going to be feeling any consequence other than political. And that's where we come in. Donald Trump has enough money that it doesn't matter if he has to pay an extra 25% on Canadian goods. But this is going to impact manufacturers, people who are business owners, people who probably voted for Donald Trump, people who own liquor companies and whiskey companies and bourbon companies and vodka and gin and beer. Companies that export their products to Canada they're just, nope, we're not going to buy it. He says Ontario will also launch its first round of retaliation starting today. The Liquor Control Board of Ontario, the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world, will begin removing U.S. products from its store shelves. They're not going to sell it. This is going to hurt Donald Trump. I guarantee it. And he puts this squarely on the shoulders of Donald Trump. They only have President Trump to blame. Now, here is what's to come. This is what, first of all, he's also punishing Elon Musk. They are just canceling the contracts of, what's his goofy satellite internet company, Starlink. Done. Canceled it. And if these continue, if these tariffs persist, what they're going to do is, one, charge more for the electricity that they export to the United States, Minnesota, Michigan, New York, those northern border states. And then if it goes on even further, he says, and you're going to hear it here, we'll just shut off the spigot altogether. No power to them. Watch this.
We also need to be ready to dig in for a long fight. We need to be ready to escalate using every tool in our toolkit. That includes surcharges or even outright restrictions on the critical minerals and electricity we supply to the United States. The critical minerals and electricity they depend on. Today, I'm writing to every senator, every congressman and woman, and the governors from New York State, Michigan, and Minnesota, telling them that these tariffs persist. If the Trump administration falls through on any more tariffs, we will immediately apply a 25% surcharge on the electricity we export. We will not hesitate to shut off their power as well. I'm encouraging my fellow premiers to follow suit.
Beautiful. If the Trump administration persists in this absolute nightmare of an economic punishment for Canada, they will retaliate. 25% surcharge on all the electricity we export, and we will not hesitate to shut off their power as well. This is how you fight back. And it could have been avoided. Hands, it could have been avoided. There is no need to enter into a trade war with a vital trading partner like Canada, an ally, a friend. It's not a hostile foreign power like China. It's not an economic competitor like China. It's Canada. For one, I'm glad they've got the fight in them. And this isn't me rooting against the country. This is me rooting against an enemy of the United States who just happens to be the president of the country at the moment. And if you don't think Trump is an enemy, you're not paying attention. He's an enemy to the Constitution. He's an enemy to the rule of law. He's an enemy to the truth. He's an enemy to the people. And he's an enemy to our allies. Should give you pause. Anyway, good for you, Doug Ford. I'm here for it. Justin Trudeau made a similar statement today, maybe not as forceful, but a hell of a lot more empathetic. We need a lot more of that in our country. Good for you, Canada. What do you think? You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. Of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. I would love to hear from you. I would also love it if you'd consider supporting and producing this work in independent media that I do. You can click the join button below, and for $1.99, you can support this work, help me produce these videos. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Both of those are fantastic ways to help support this work. I'd appreciate it very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.